turns into a nightmare.
When my husband on the floor, and he got by the floor. Does it look like he's been shot? Yes.
He's on the floor with his head bleeding.
At first, it looks like it could have been a tragic accident.
Some people celebrating New Year's Eve shoot off guns in their yards, shoot them up into the air. And on occasion, people would be hit by stray bullets.
Was this a freak accident?
The evidence shows the victim may have been targeted.
There was a hole in the screen.
It did not come from a falling projectile. It came across.
But who wanted to hurt this loving family man?
They asked her, who could want to harm your husband?
Say you hold me money.
They did hear a knock on the door.
They heard a male voice say, "Open the door, I'll shoot."
Soon, detectives will uncover a twisted love triangle full of deceit.
They had a rocky relationship.
Something's missing from her current relationship.
There's red flags going up all over.
He didn't want her going back to her husband.
It just leaves that void. It hurt to everybody. They know what they're doing.
We had to make a deal with the devil.
December 31st, 1996. It's New Year's Eve in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, a multicultural city of 150,000, just a half hour north of Miami.
Back then, Broward County was much more suburban than it is now. People from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all races, colors, creeds, nationalities, ethnicities.
And tonight, people all across the city are coming together to celebrate the new year.
There were big fireworks celebrations, but also it would not be unusual for some people celebrating New Year's Eve to shoot off guns in their yards.
Most cultures, Caribbean-wise, it's part of the culture to welcome the new year.
Which makes for a busy night for police.
There's actually a public service announcement that comes out every year about shooting guns off in the air, because it does happen. And what goes up must come down.
And this night is no different. When a little after midnight, Broward County 911 receives a call from 33-year-old Haitian immigrant Carol Vildor.
Just ask when my husband on the floor, and he got by the blood. Your husband is on the floor? Yeah, bleeding around the head.
Carol tells the dispatcher she's not sure what happened to 55-year-old Villard Vildor.
I just get up from work, I see my husband on the floor.
She came home and discovered her husband on the floor of the family room, laying in a pool of blood.
Does it look like he's been shot? Yeah, because I see like that blood.
Was this a freak accident? Was this a stray bullet type situation? Or was this something more sinister?
Haitian-born Villard Vildor was a happy-go-lucky guy who made friends quickly.
Villard was a very well-liked guy. He had a gregarious personality.
He'll give you the last shirt off his back. He was a people person.
This is a nice one. When you with him, you like to with him every time. But he like everybody. Nicely with everybody. That's where he is.
After immigrating to the United States, Villard worked hard to help provide for his family back in the Caribbean.
When he come to Florida, he send money for us, we get it. He give me everything he can give it to me till I get work.
He worked in the hospitality industry, like most Caribbean families in South Florida.
Eventually, he was promoted to supervisor of the housekeeping department at a local hotel.
But Villard's biggest source of pride was his children, although his early relationships hadn't worked out.
Hey, honey, how's it going?
There's many of us from his previous marriages. My mom always tell me, you don't know what happened between me and him. With my father and my mom, there was a lot of ups and downs.
However, Villard kept his heart open And when he met fellow Haitian immigrant Carol Dufresne, he was sure he'd finally found what he was looking for.
When Villard and Carol met, he was in his late 40s and she was in her late 20s. She was a single mother, recently divorced.
Despite the age difference, Villard and Carol felt an immediate connection.
Most importantly to Carol, Villard happily welcomed her children into his life.
Villard's own kids were scattered around Florida and the Caribbean, so it probably was nice to have some new kids in his life.
Carol's two older sons were living with the couple.
By 1991, they were married, and their blended family was growing.
They welcomed a new baby into the family.
A couple of years later, Carol decided to take a big step in helping support her family, buy a house in a fashionable neighborhood southwest of the city.
They worked hard and were now really living their American dream.
But now, Carol has returned home from a New Year's Eve shift at work to find Villard bleeding on the floor of their home.
Bleeding around their head. Okay, is he conscious? Yeah.
At that point, the dispatcher transfers Carol to the responders en route.
However, when they try to direct Carol in how to care for Villard, they run into a problem.
I want you to go to the tower and wrap this head up. Can you do that for me?
I ain't got no phone. I'm at my neighbor's house.
Okay, well, when you hang up with me, go ahead and wrap this head up for me.
She didn't even have a home phone, but how she grew up is different. Take your head back to Haiti. Culturally, you have to take that into account.
Before hanging up with Carol, the EMT asks one more question that makes it clear just how dire the situation is.
Do you know if he was breathing or not?
Yeah, he's breathing, but he's just little.
Built a beautiful life for himself in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Villard was well respected at work. He was a good dad. He worked hard not to only take care of his children, but his extended family back in the Caribbean.
He'd also found love with a fellow Haitian, 20 years his junior, named Carol.
They ended up getting married and they started building their life together.
But now, in the first moments of 1997, Carol has arrived home from a late shift to find Villard bleeding on the floor.
Bleeding around their head. Does it look like he's in shock? Yeah.
At first, dispatchers wonder if this could just be a freak accident.
There are New Year's revelers out there shooting handguns into the air, and on occasion, people would be hit by stray bullets.
When first responders arrive, they find Villard on the living room floor with his head on a pillow.
Carol arrived from the neighbors at the same time as first responders, so she hadn't yet wrapped a towel around Villard's head.
While Villard is transported to the nearest hospital, an officer asks Carol and her children to stay behind to speak with them.
Two of the children were actually in the house when this situation occurred.
But before speaking to the family, the officers walk through the crime scene.
Although Villard was in the living room when they arrived, it quickly became clear that he wasn't shot there.
Police noticed that not only is there blood in the living room, but there's blood in the hallway.
In a nearby room, there's a large pool of blood on the floor, and another big clue that the shooting occurred here.
They noticed that there was a bullet that came through the window.
There was a hole in the screen consistent with a bullet having been fired through the window into the family room.
Maybe Villard was watching television in this room when the stray bullet came through, and he wasn't even aware of what happened.
But the angle of the bullet hole gives them pause.
The trajectory doesn't line up with it being accidental. It appeared to have come from below.
That indicated it did not come from a falling projectile.
With the possibility of foul play, officers call in detectives who head straight to the hospital to try to speak to Villard.
Everybody is just working together to try to figure out what is going on here.
In the meantime, An officer at the scene turns to the family, hoping for more information, starting with Carol.
Carol said she came home from work approximately 11:30.
What happened when you arrived home?
When I opened the door, I see my husband lay on the floor by the TV.
His head bleeding and he was complaining of a headache.
What happened?
Were you able to talk to him at that time?
Yes.
Did you ask him what happened?
Yeah, I asked him what happened. He said he got a headache.
Okay. Did he say anything about how that injury occurred?
No, nothing. He don't say nothing. He just says he got a headache. I keep asking him, tell me what happened. He got died of blood and something happened to him.
Carol says that Villard even got up and walked to the living room.
Did he go into any other room or anything else when you were in there the first time?
Yeah, he tried to, to walk in the living room.
Carol explains that she eventually got so concerned about Villard's behavior that she decided to get help.
I tell him I'm going to call the police.
Okay, so where did you go?
I go to the neighbor.
Next, police want to know if Villard had any enemies.
Has your husband been fighting with anybody, arguing with anybody lately? Did he ever mention that he might have had some problems with anybody at work or anything like that?
You don't know with him.
There's one recent incident, however, that Carol mentions.
One day I see one person come to my house. He just stay in the parking lot, and Villa was outside, and he said, Villa, you hold me money.
How long ago was this?
That was a couple of months ago.
Unfortunately, Carol wasn't able to get a description of the man or the vehicle.
But police want to know if that incident could be indicative of a bigger problem.
Do you have any kind of serious money problems, you or Villa?
No, because we always pay the bill together.
After wrapping up with Carol, the officer asks to speak with her two children, who were home at the time Villard was shot.
The kids are just 8 and 5, so investigators have to be cautious in talking to them.
But they could hold vital information.
Carol's oldest son, who is 12, was staying with his father, so he wasn't there to help his younger brother and sister.
Thankfully, Carol's 8-year-old son is able to give a statement that could point investigators in the right direction.
He says that both he and his sister were in their bedrooms around 11 p.m.
He said that he did hear a banging on the door, and then they heard a man's voice.
Open up the door, I'm gonna shoot.
Police have just learned from Carol Vildor's 8-year-old son that someone pounded on the door just moments before his stepfather Villard was shot.
He heard a male voice say, "Open the door, I'll shoot."
Now, police are trying to figure out who is this man that was banging on the door. Could this be the same man that Carol had spoken about, that had come to the house yelling that Villard had owed him money?
All right, well, can you give me a description?
However, neither of Carol's children knew what the man looked like.
They heard the shot, but they stayed in their room.
These poor children had to be so traumatized hearing this chaos that was happening.
Meanwhile, detectives are at the hospital, hoping to interview the victim, Villard.
When they arrived, Villard was still pretty incoherent, but doctors confirmed it was a gunshot wound.
They asked him, "Who shot you?" And he says, "No one shot me."
He didn't even know he was shot.
He's really not in a position to be able to understand or effectively articulate, and they're trying to get him to surgery.
So detectives go to the hotel where Villard works to see if his co-workers can shed any light on the situation.
Are you the manager?
The manager, of course, was shocked to learn that Villard had been shot.
What can you tell me about him?
I mean, he's a great guy. He's a great worker.
But then Villard's manager says something that surprises detectives.
He explains that contrary to Carol's statement, the couple wasn't so happily married.
He had some issues with his wife.
What kind of issues?
They had a rocky relationship, Carol and Villard. In fact, a month or so before the murder, she had filed papers for divorce.
And apparently, Carol had found someone else.
Back in the fall, Carol and Villard had rented out a room in their home to another Haitian man.
The man's name is Elefon Doris.
Carol saw an opportunity of maybe something she was missing from her current relationship.
And Villard found out when one day he walked in on them together.
Fellow countryman from Haiti invited him into his own home, and this guy repays his kindness by having sex with his wife.
Villard apparently had kicked him out, but Carol decided to go too.
The next day, she moved in with her lover.
But soon she came crawling back to her husband.
After Carol moved out with her lover, that didn't work out very well. So now she's moving her things back to her husband's place.
There may have been kind of the grass is greener on the other side effect, but you may not like all the other things that come with what's on the other side.
It sounds like Villard was in the middle of a tumultuous love triangle. But is that why he ended up shot?
His supervisor said detectives should really talk to one of the other housekeepers, a friend Villard likely confided in.
And her reaction is surprising.
We're just here trying to find a little more information about Villard Vildor.
What's going on? Did they hurt him?
The housekeeper said that Villard had shared with her that Carol and her boyfriend were trying to kill him. She said that Villard felt that they were trying to put voodoo on him.
Voodoo is very prominent in the Haitian culture. It's real to them, just as real as any religion is to any believer. And he felt his life was in danger because of it.
In the Caribbean, they do believe that you can harm somebody by just speaking evil things upon them.
But is it possible that when the hex failed, Carol and her boyfriend had taken matters into their own hands?
When they realized that the hex didn't work, maybe they resorted to Plan B.
Detectives decide to obtain confirmation of Carol's divorce filing.
Carol filed for divorce on November 8, 1996, right around the time that Villard would have kicked her lover out of the house.
And when detectives run a search on the Vildors, they find more intriguing records.
They find 6 domestic-related complaints between Carol and Villard from October 1995 to November 1996.
Most of the calls were to the couple's home, but the final one was to the residence Carol briefly shared with Elefon.
Carol called the cops because someone had slashed the tires on her car, and she named her husband as the suspect.
But it's a call to police on December 6th that really catches the detective's attention.
She's calling for help moving her things out of her boyfriend's apartment.
She was scared that he might hurt her.
Domino's has large one-topping pizzas for $7.99 if you carry out. Okay, guess I'm carrying out.
They don't want you to know about it.
Hey, did you know you might get a big cash payout if you were in a car accident up to 1 year ago? Even if you weren't driving. Just click the link around this video to see how much you can get. Just answer 5 simple questions, and it only takes 30 seconds. If you got hurt by a driver in last year, you might be owed money without even knowing it. You could get a check just like this one, maybe even more. Click the link now to find out. Tens of thousands of people have received a 5-figure or even a 6-figure check without going to court, paying big legal fees, or dealing with insurance companies or greedy attorneys. Even if you were a pedestrian, rideshare user, cyclist, or a motorcyclist, you can get the justice you deserve. Look at Mia, for example. She had no idea her case was worth anything, but after she came to Car Accident Counsel, she got over $160,000 from an accident that happened a little less than a year ago. No matter what you thought before, you can get what you're owed, and can be shocked to see how much more it can be than you expected. We can't change the past, but we can help you get a good cash settlement for missed work, hospital bills, and property damage. Here is what happens after you answer the 5 simple questions. In a few minutes, a top injury specialist will tell you if your accident qualifies for major compensation. After that, you just tell them about your case and wait for a check. You can get it in little as 30 days. Your specialist will do everything to help you because they don't get paid unless you win. To see if your accident qualifies for a major cash settlement, click the link below and answer 5 simple questions. Some people feel bad about holding someone accountable and don't want to cause trouble or look like they're
Detectives in Fort Lauderdale have just learned that when Carol Vildor left her boyfriend to move back in with her husband Villard, she had requested police protection.
She claims that he has threatened to harm her, her husband, or the both of them.
But did Carol's apparent fear lead her estranged lover to go after her husband?
It makes sense that if Carol returned to Villard, that Elefon may have been angry and went out for revenge.
Sadly, Villard will never get the opportunity to identify the person who shot him.
Villard passed away on January 3rd.
Now it becomes a homicide investigation.
When I hear he's dead, I get shocked about it. I get shocked. It just leaves that void. Everybody in this whole thing is hurt.
Wanting to learn exactly why Carol feared her boyfriend, detectives ask her to come into the station.
When police were first questioning Carol, she portrayed this beautiful marriage between her and Villard. But as they dug deeper, they discovered that she had filed for a divorce and she had a boyfriend. So now they're wondering, why is it that she did not disclose this information in the very beginning?
For her not to tell us that and for us to have to find it out is pretty telling.
But Carol readily admits that Elefon Doris had lived with the couple briefly.
So Doris moved into your house and paid rent? Was he like a tenant there, a boarder?
Carol also admits that she had started an intimate relationship with the man.
During that time where this individual lived there, did you start a relationship with him? Intimate? An affair?
She was saying that at the time she started the affair, things were not great with Villard.
Carol also confirms to detectives that after Villard found out about the affair, she and Elefon moved out of the house.
During that time, did someone damage your car?
All the time.
And on the police report, the person who did it is your husband.
Yes.
According to Carol, the incident set Elefon off.
She said Elefon was mad at Villard because he had slashed her tires.
When Doris found out what happened, what did he tell you?
He told me if he found that I was killing. But I didn't think it was.
She claimed that he told her that he was going to kill Villard.
He get mad for everything.
You have a very short temper?
Yeah.
Detectives also asked Carol about the day she moved back in with Villard and requested police protection.
What made you move out?
Because I'm scared of him. That's why.
Why are you scared of him for?
Because he always tries to hurt me.
Carol said that Elefon was so angry that she was going back to Villard that he lost control.
When you moved out, did it make him mad?
Yeah, it went to me on my heart.
Detectives hope this could be their break in the case.
Did he say how he was going to do it?
No, you don't tell me how.
However, Carol did say that Elefon gave her an idea of when the murder would happen.
Did he say he was going to do it when you were home or at work?
At work.
Carol says she begged him not to go through with it.
And what did he say to that?
He said, don't be scared. Nobody gonna find him.
Although Carol claims killing Villard was all Elefon's idea, some things just don't add up.
Every time they question her, she has a different story.
every piece of information that you're given, whether it's truthful or untruthful, is very, very important. If this is your husband and you're giving us false information to get us off the track, who are you protecting?
If her boyfriend had threatened the life of her husband, why didn't she warn her husband? Why didn't she go to law enforcement?
They all come up with the same conclusion. She knows something and she's lying.
And detectives suspect that she's not only lying about who wanted Villard dead, but about the alleged abuse she suffered too.
She had accused Doris of hitting her. The question is that really the truth? I do not believe so.
Now they're looking at her and wondering, is she giving us a version to try and save herself so that she can pin this homicide on her lover?
Convinced Carol isn't telling them everything, detectives decide to dig into financial records for the Vildors and for Elephant.
They did discover something suspicious. Carol and Elephant had opened a bank account a day before Villard was shot.
And the activity on the account is just as suspicious.
$300 was deposited into that account, but 2 days after the murder, the bank account was closed.
It was like, wow. Okay, what's going on here?
Detectives have just uncovered evidence that Carol Vildor and her lover, Elephant Doris, opened and closed a joint bank account in the days surrounding the shooting that killed her husband, Villard.
They opened the account on December 30th and deposited $300. 3 days later, the account was closed.
What's going on here? Your husband was just murdered. What happened to the money?
Determined to find out the truth, detectives haul Carol back in for another round of questioning.
The detectives have a plan. They start slow, trying to gain Carol's trust.
And their patience pays off.
Guilt is a very, very strong emotion that eats away at your soul.
She starts confessing to them, but they inform her of her rights so that her story could be admissible in court. So they stop her, Mirandize her, and ask her to start from the beginning. And surprisingly, she does.
Carol then drops a bombshell. There was someone else involved.
Now, who's Eric?
There's a third person that has now been brought into this situation, Eric Joseph.
Eric is Elephant's roommate.
And according to Carol, the plan was for Eric to shoot Villard.
He said, "Amy, go and do it, and shoot my husband."
Carol claims Elephant had purchased the murder weapon the week of the murder.
Elephant allegedly used some of the money from their joint bank account.
Then they ask her who withdrew the rest of the money and closed the account 3 days later.
Did you take it out?
No, I didn't take it out.
Who else has access to your account?
Nobody.
Detectives then turn their attention to the night of the shooting.
So Eric's job was to do the shooting and killing?
Yeah.
Okay. How did Eric get to your house?
He just did bicycle.
Took a bicycle?
Yeah.
Asked about her role, Carol claims she was just supposed to leave the house.
And your job was to do what?
Go to work, because when I'm coming at home, when I see that triple before.
So you were supposed to come home and act surprised?
Yeah.
Eric was going to come shoot Villard that night. And then when Carol came home from work, she has an alibi.
Carol also maintains that Villard was never able to identify his attacker.
Does your husband ever tell you who shot him?
No, he don't ever tell me.
What does he tell you?
He tell me headed, and I keep asking who did it, but I know who did it, but I keep asking him.
At the end of the interview, detectives hold Carol in custody and go get arrest warrants for Elephant and Eric.
They were brought in without any incident.
Detectives get the two men settled into interrogation rooms. But when they start with Elefon, they run into a language barrier.
And it was only until they found a detective who spoke fluent Creole that they could explain the Miranda rights.
Through the translator, he waives his Miranda rights and agrees to talk to detectives.
They're very direct with him. They let him know that he's looking like a person of interest.
But he completely denies being involved in the murder plot or ever trying to hex Villard.
Do you or your
31st, 1996, did you have a meeting with Carol and Eric about killing Villard?
No.
Did you ever threaten to kill Villard?
No.
Did you ever fight with Villard?
No.
He tells police that it was actually a plan between Carol and Eric.
He never made an admission that he wanted Villard shot or killed. Never did. He did say that his roommate Eric did it.
Did you have a gun?
No.
It was Eric that rode his bike over to the home of Carol and Villard. He is the person that shot him.
He does, however, admit to being there when the plan came together.
Were you in your apartment when they were talking about killing Villard?
Yes, he was at the apartment. And yes, Eric and Carol were in his apartment.
He also tells detectives he saw Eric with a gun.
Eric had a gun.
Describe the gun.
He said it looked like a small revolver.
He says that Eric shot him and then afterwards went to his girlfriend's house.
Okay. After the murder, where did Eric go to and sleep?
He said he told him he wanted to go sleep at his girlfriend's house.
Elefon also acknowledges opening the bank account with Carol, but says she was just helping him out and that it had nothing to do with the plot to kill Villard.
Whose account was that?
For me.
He also denies wanting Villard out of the way in order to be with Carol.
Did you plan to marry Carol?
No.
He had a fleeting affair with Carol and didn't want any more of it because he had a girlfriend in Haiti.
When detectives sit down with Eric, he also denies having anything to do with the murder and points the finger back at Elefon.
Why did you kill Villard, Eric?
I didn't. It was Elefant.
He claims that this whole plot was between him and Carol, and he was just a bystander that overheard the conversation.
They even talked about how they tried to do voodoo first, and it didn't work.
Eric also denies going over to Carol and Villard's house or going to his girlfriend's after the murder.
Unsure what to believe at this point, detectives decide to follow up with Eric's girlfriend.
Upon speaking with her, they find out some shocking news.
Yeah, Eric came over that night. He showed up a little before midnight, but he was acting kind of weird.
She says that he had a small revolver with him, which he shows her. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, so the next morning, she asked him about it.
Hey, so why do you even have that gun?
Because I shot a guy last night.
Reaction, there's a reaction. And then, karma too. If you do something wrong and you don't refrain yourself or repent for what you did, it comes back. When you deal with someone that's a manipulator, they would try to use whatever they can to take the scent off of them. Who are we to say who gets to live and who gets to die? You do something, you gotta own it. If you're brave enough to set this up, you can handle the consequences for it.
Murder suspect Eric Joseph's girlfriend has just told detectives that he showed up at her house with a gun the night Villard Vildor was murdered in his home.
I shot a guy last night.
Eric had come home and he eventually told her that he had killed somebody. So we had corroboration.
Do you know what happened to the gun
after that?
He told me he buried it behind his cousin's house.
The girlfriend's statement confirms what Carol Vildor and her lover, Ella Doris, told investigators. That Eric was the triggerman in the plot to kill Villard. Hoping for the last bit of evidence they need, detectives arrange a search of the area where Eric's girlfriend said he'd buried the gun.
They never found it. So where he eventually removed it, we'll never know.
Still, detectives feel they have enough to charge all three with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Although Elefon continues to maintain his innocence.
The allegations originally that there were 3 conspirators, with Carol being the ringleader of it all. Carol then tried to put it off on a boyfriend. But according to him, Eric told him he was going to do it for no other reason than money. I do not believe Elefane was the one who wanted Villard dead. And I think Carol vindictively, after the fact, put it off on him, maybe because she was a lover scorned.
She knew what they do, and she do it in purpose.
To untangle the web of allegations, prosecutors rely on the statement from Eric's girlfriend, alongside some additional witnesses.
We corroborated other witnesses to whom Eric made admissions that he shot Villard. We had another witness who saw Eric on a bike that night with a gun. So we could put a gun in his hand.
Two young lovers in the prime of their lives.
They started off as high school sweethearts.
They plan to stay together forever.
He saved enough money to buy her a ring.
They had the look of a strong marriage, and they had the making of a strong marriage.
Until a horrific discovery brought their dreams crashing down around them.
That's a body.
The victim's head, arms, and legs had all been taken from the body.
I almost went into a panic mode thinking, do we have a serial killer?
In a race against the clock, detectives must solve a puzzling murder mystery where the main players aren't who they seem to be.
I don't know if we're going to be able to solve this case.
It's been 2 years now, and I'm still just boiling with anger.
To cut someone's head off, that's really personal. That's really sending a message.
I'm not lying to you, and I'm not trying to hurt you.
October 29th, 2012. It's a quiet Monday evening in Mechanicsburg, Illinois, a small farming community just east of Springfield.
A gentleman drove past this creek bed on Griffiths Creek Road, and he was looking for deer in the creek bed.
As he passed an area that he normally does go hunting, he saw something that looked unusual.
The man slows down to get a better look, but he can't make out the shadowy object lying near the creek bed.
Whatever it was that was out there was bothering him, so much so that he decided to call up a neighbor.
They said, hey, can you come down here? Because I saw something there. I don't know what it is. I have a kind of uneasy feeling about it.
A short time later, the man's neighbor arrives at the location. Carefully, the pair descends into the culvert. What they discover stops them dead in their tracks.
At first they thought it was a deer, but through closer examination they said, this is not our usual animal here.
Took a closer look, and sure enough, it was basically a torso.
That's a body right there.
A body that was missing head, hands, and legs.
Yeah, let's get out of here and call Byron.
Well, these guys were pretty shook up. I mean, this isn't something that they were expecting to see. And obviously when they discovered it, they were pretty nervous, pretty upset.
They decided to call a friend of theirs that is in law enforcement to help them say, hey, you know, we have a body here. You should take a look at this.
They didn't tell me that there was parts missing. They just told me that they thought they had a body. It's pretty shocking.
Police Chief Brian Honey radios dispatch and informs them of the gruesome discovery. Before long, the area is swarming with law enforcement.
This is definitely something that's different than what we normally handle. And quite frankly, when we saw the scene and we looked at what we had, we were baffled on where to start.
All right, we got a crime lab on the way?
Yes, sir, we do.
A medical examiner's office as well?
Yes, sir. Okay. Both of them are around.
What could we be dealing with here? We have an apparent African American, no head, no arms, no legs, discarded on the side of a very remote rural road.
As they continue to examine the crime scene, a chilling thought enters the minds of some of the investigators.
We've all seen the serial killers where they get the first one, and it's like, now they have to taste the blood. When is the second one going to be? We felt our clock was ticking.
But when the clock finally strikes zero, the picture that emerges is almost unimaginable. A picture of two young lovers on a collision course with evil.
You think you've seen everything, and there's always one more case that tops it. And this was the case that topped it.
Born in 1990 in the close-knit Chicagoland suburb of Crete, Illinois, Watasha Denton's childhood was as American as apple pie.
She comes from a good family. Her dad is a military man. Her mom was a stay-at-home mother. She was a very loving girl, very sweet girl, straight-A student.
Though Watasha was kind-hearted and attractive, she was also very competitive and drove herself to succeed at everything she did.
She likes to excel. She is a bit of a perfectionist, and perfection is defined by her. I believe that that is part of what makes her tick.
What I do is I got tickets to the game that I'm gonna be in, so I want y'all to come.
Watasha's competitive fire wasn't reserved strictly for school.
I'll talk to y'all later, all right?
When it came to boys, Watasha always seemed to get what she wanted.
Hey, I didn't know you was here.
Yeah, I'm just studying.
And in high school, the boy she wanted more than any other was Ray Mel McCaster, known to friends and family as Ray.
Everybody loved Ray. He was an athlete, nice looking. He was wanted by many women. So Watasha having an opportunity to even woo him and kind of settle him down was a big feat.
Ray was a good catch for Watasha. He was the exact opposite of her. She was more of a quiet person, driven, focused, smart. He was more of the ladies' man.
Though Watasha had done everything in her power to make Ray her steady boyfriend, the outgoing all-state wrestler still wanted to play the field.
A lot of girls liked him. And sometimes when you're young, you do like to experience different personalities in women and see who really fits you.
Unwilling to play second fiddle to anyone, Watasha decided to break things off with Ray. And when Ray left for college in 2009, the relationship seemed over for good. But after a year away, Ray couldn't shake the feeling that he'd let the love of his life slip through his fingers. And before his sophomore year began, Ray dropped out of school and headed home, determined to win back Watasha's heart.
So he returns back to the south suburbs of Chicago, and this time Ray said, "Hey, I'm not gonna let you go. I'm definitely here for you."
He mentioned that he's a changed guy and he really want to make this work, and they started dating again.
Once back in Crete, Ray joined the National Guard. During basic training, he made another big decision.
He saved enough money to buy her a ring. So we ended up taking Tasha down there for his graduation, and that's when he proposed to her.
In October of 2010, Watasha and Ray officially tied the knot. Shortly after that, the happy 20-year-olds moved to the capital city of Springfield to start their new life together.
Watasha was a student at the University of Illinois in Springfield. Ray Mel was a national reservist. He was also employed. And the couple's plan was for them to stay here until Watasha could ultimately graduate with her bachelor's degree.
The couple's plans for their picture-perfect life together extended well beyond Watasha's graduation. They had also decided that Ray would eventually continue his own education.
They had like a 7-year plan. He would go to the military, she would go to school. After he gets out of military, he goes to school.
Ooh, baby, this thing is heavy. Where do you want me to put this?
Put it in the back, honey.
The couple soon became active in church and grew particularly close to their pastor, Dion Kreitz.
Pastor Dion, don't put it there, because he's already going to tell you to put it somewhere else. You might as well hand that over to me. Okay.
And when Ray and Watasha moved from their starter apartment to a bigger place, Pastor Kreitz was there to lend a hand.
Lots of boxes, lots of boxes. Oh my God. But it was fun. I enjoyed doing it. They inspired me because they were young, they were in love with one another.
Well, you know what they say? Happy wife, happy life.
Fast forward to October of 2012. As Ray and Watasha approached their second anniversary, their future seemed brighter than ever.
It was clear that they were making this work and they were happy and they were in love.
But no one in Springfield could imagine the terrifying events that were about to engulf Ray and Watasha. Events for the entire community.
Car crashes, airplane crashes, homicides, suicides, you name it, I've seen it. This particular case, well, I had never seen anything like it.
After rekindling their high school romance, highly motivated college student Watasha Denton and handsome National Guardsman Ray McCaster have tied the knot and have settled into a blissful life together in Springfield, Illinois. For the perfectionist in Watasha, having Ray put a ring on her finger was further proof that in the game of life, she was one of the winners.
When he proposed to her, that solidified everything, his love for her, and so that just made her happy.
You know I love you, right?
I love you too.
It was a perfect marriage, so to speak.
But just 3 days after the couple's second wedding anniversary, a gruesome discovery sets in motion a chain of events that proves the dream-life Watasha envisioned for her and Ray was far from a reality.
The drag mark?
Could be.
The body had been found right off of a road. The body had been mutilated. The victim's head, arms, and legs had all been taken from the body.
It's one thing to see a body and to come across a homicide, but to come across a body that had been dismembered in this way is pretty terrifying for anybody to stumble upon.
Not that far to dump a body here, it'd be convenient.
This is blue collar, small town, quiet farm life. They definitely don't experience homicides that are this gruesome.
This particular case, where the body was murdered and then systematically dismembered, I'll never forget it. It's indelibly burned into my mind.
The size and shape of the torso suggests the body is that of a male, but due to the dismemberment, further identification is nearly impossible.
My first inclination was somebody was trying to conceal the identity of the deceased.
There was a lack of any fluids, body fluids, of blood, or anything like that.
It was pretty clear at that point we believed that this was a dump site and that the murder most likely didn't occur there.
There was some evidence on the guardrail of blood as if the body was dragged over the guardrail and then dumped at that location from possibly a vehicle off the road.
With the headless torso offering few clues as to where or why the crime occurred, investigators decide to scour the surrounding area for evidence.
We spent that night and then most of the next day going through the woods, going through the grass around the body.
They had collected paper, napkins, garbage, anything that's physically there.
After hours of collecting possible evidence, one thing remains unaccounted for: the victim's missing body parts.
We searched all the areas around that creek, and close by is the Sangamon River. The search and rescue group, we didn't locate anything. And we speculated that, maybe this could be a hit or maybe drug related just by the viciousness of it.
We hear of crimes in Mexico where drug lords cut off the heads of individuals, throw them on the side of the road, but not here in central Illinois.
And then you think, well, was it from here? Was it from Decatur? Was it from Chicago, 200 miles away, St. Louis, or anywhere? Because we're at the crisscross of many interstates here. That body could come from anywhere in the United States. I almost went into a panic mode thinking, well, do we have somebody in Springfield or in our central Illinois area that is a serial killer?
With two equally terrifying theories and little in the way of evidence, investigators feel almost overwhelmed by the task at hand.
I thought to myself, this is going to be a tough one. I don't know if we're going to be able to solve this case.
Investigators hope an autopsy can shed some light on the victim's identity and perhaps offer additional information about how the crime was committed.
Detective Roach. Hey, Doctor, yeah.
The biggest mystery of all was we didn't know who the person was. It was extremely frustrating for us. We had a body, and the autopsy showed no cause of death. So, I mean, how did this person die? There was no obvious stab wounds or gunshot wounds in the torso.
Yeah, I think it's either blunt force trauma to the head or a gunshot to the head, yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Since there is no head and no other inflicting wounds on the body, it could have been a head wound, and that's why the head is missing.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, doctor.
The coroner's findings also indicate that after the killer murdered the victim, they removed the head and other appendages with some sort of saw.
Something with teeth and probably something that would have a rapid movement because they were very clean cut.
But it looks like it's going to be a reciprocating saw or some kind of high-speed saw.
This manner of death seems plausible to detectives, but without a positive ID of the victim, the investigation is stuck in first gear.
I mean, one of the most important parts of starting a murder investigation is identifying the victim. And in this case, we had no teeth, we had no fingerprints, we'd have to rely solely on DNA.
All right, he's going to email that or fax it over. We'll get it here in just about an hour.
Investigators submit a sample of the victim's DNA to a federal database.
They have a repository, which is a national database for DNA. It's called CODIS. If you've been convicted of a crime and you're a felon, they put that on file.
They were unable to discover a match. Obviously, this victim had no criminal background to match them to the DNA at the crime scene.
With the CODIS search yielding no matches, police reach out to another organization that maintains a DNA database.
We knew that anybody that goes into the military service will have a DNA profile.
We were able to have a test done at the lab on the East Coast through the Department of Defense.
Hey, I just got a hit back from DOD.
On November 7th, DNA analysts with the Department of Defense inform investigators in Springfield that they've made a match.
And the results were, it was Ray McCaster.
22-year-old Ray McCaster, the star athlete, the National Guardsman, the happy, doting husband.
It is a wonderful kid. I didn't have any problems out of him. It's just a wonderful kid.
Ray was a good kid. And if you ask anybody, they'll tell you the same thing. Never in a million years would I believe that someone would take this young man's life like that. Unbelievable that someone would think so less of him that they would murder him in such a way.
But who would want to kill Ray McCaster, and why? The answer to that question would stun not only police, but everyone in Springfield as well. It's November of 2012, and a gruesome discovery along a rural highway has police outside Springfield, Illinois on the hunt for a killer.
A dismembered body discarded 15 miles from the city in a remote area. The town was on pins and needles. They wanted answers.
The first part of the job was to identify the body, and obviously before they can look for suspects, they need to look for who their victim is.
DNA analysis by the Department of Defense helped police determine that the body is that of 22-year-old Ray Mel McCaster. But what was the mutilated body of a happily married National Guardsman doing in a culvert 15 miles outside of town?
He's a married man, has a good job. He's in the military, and so why does this man end up in a rural ditch, beheaded and dismembered? We had no reason. It was a total mystery.
Investigators combed their files to see if a missing persons report was ever filed on Ray McCaster's behalf. Surprisingly, no one, including Ray's wife, Watasha, had ever filed such a report.
It's an odd thing because if your husband disappears, leaves you, we would assume that you'd report him missing.
Especially a wife like Watasha, who seemed to be head over heels in love with her husband.
We have a lot of questions. And instead of coming out and confronting her, we needed to get as much information as we possibly could.
In an effort to solve that mystery, detectives reach out to Ray's parents in the Chicago suburb of Crete.
Folks, I'm Detective Roche, Detective Hayes.
But before they can interview them, they must deliver the heartbreaking news.
There's really no easy way to say this. And
it's terrible. There's no good way to do it. And talking to someone about, their deceased loved one, especially when it was such a difficult case.
We found Ray and he's passed away.
It was almost as your chest could cave in. You can't breathe. You're losing vision.
Can you think of anyone that would want to hurt Ray?
No, Ray was a good kid.
Ray's father, Marcel, explains that his most recent conversation with Watasha 3 weeks ago had given him pause.
She said something about him doing drugs. I didn't believe any of it.
She said that Raymel had ran off. I said, ran off? What do you mean? He went to St. Louis with some homeless guy.
She had told his father Ray had started running with a bad crowd. He was going out and partying and drinking all the time, and some of the people that he was running with were using narcotics, and that Ray was participating in using narcotics.
For investigators, Marcel's statement points them back to their original theory about the crime.
Do you think that it could be a homicide from a drug or some kind of gang activity?
Whoever did this to that body wanted that person to know that they were indeed upset, and they wanted to display that from how they treated the body.
However, Ray's father finds the drug angle hard to fathom.
Is that something that Ray had done in the past?
No, of course not.
As a father, that you know how you raise your child. And that's why it didn't add up. Drugs and Raymel doesn't add up.
We'll show ourselves out.
Is it possible Ray's family is simply in denial about his supposed drug use? His pastor, Dion Kreitz, is equally skeptical of the allegations.
To me, it's not Ray. Ray was very soft-spoken, wasn't high-strung, one of the nicest kids, a nice kid, good boy.
Investigators decide they need to speak with the person who was closer to Ray than anyone else in the world. The same person who seems to be the source of the drug allegations. His wife, Watasha. They find her at the couple's home in Springfield.
Hello.
When we first got to the residence, we identified who we were. She was very polite, very calm.
Judging from Watasha's reserved demeanor, investigators suspect she has no idea her husband is dead. Worried that news of Ray's murder will render her too distraught to talk, they hold off on delivering the bad news until they've spoken to her about Ray's alleged drug use.
We told her that we were contacted by the Illinois Army National Guard and that Ray had not appeared for numerous drills at this point, and she agreed to come down to the sheriff's office with us. You want something to drink?
She was polite, she was cooperative. I mean, she seemed very talkative and didn't have anything to hide.
According to Watasha, shortly after the couple moved into their new house, Ray began experimenting with drugs, and his behavior quickly took a dark turn.
She didn't like the people that he was hanging around with. Basically, that he was leading a lifestyle that was inconsistent with the way she wanted to live.
He would just get like really, really bad. He'd take the truck and he'd just leave. Sometimes he won't come back 2 or 3 days.
Watasha told investigators that at one point, Ray was so drunk one night that he fell over in the bathroom and cut himself.
Late night partying, use of illegal narcotics, alcohol abuse, physical abuse from Ray to her.
Watasha claims that despite Ray's erratic behavior, she was unwilling to give up on their marriage.
Watasha thought that she can change Ray. She wanted him to be a certain way, to be a certain husband to her.
In the fall of 2012, the abuse only escalated, and her hope of salvaging the marriage began to fade. By October, she'd had enough.
I told her on the 6th. But it made 2 years we've been married. I kicked him out on the 24th.
When he left, what did he take?
Everything.
Watasha says that one night, car pulls up to the house, and that Ray gets in the car, took everything he had with him, and they went to St. Louis.
Watasha wanted to continue to distance herself from Ray, so she decided she wanted to file for divorce.
She filed for divorce on November 7th.
At this point in the interview, detectives decide to tell Watasha the heartbreaking truth. Ray isn't in St. Louis.
He's dead. His DNA was confirmed by the Department of Defense. I'm not lying to you, and I'm not trying to hurt you.
You okay? Here, have a seat. Have a seat, man, so you don't fall down.
Sweetheart, sit down for a second. I'm not trying to hurt you.
Sit down so you don't fall, okay?
Why don't you just sit down so you don't fall down, okay?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Here you go. Want some water?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Sweetheart.
It's not right.
Watasha seems devastated by the news of her husband's death, but investigators slowly begin to notice something odd about her behavior.
She would cry, and then what I noticed is when the detective would answer a question, she would turn it off immediately.
That's when Watasha made a comment that detectives found truly unusual.
She made the comment that I never fail, that failure was something that, in her personality, she couldn't handle.
I was trying to hold on to a marriage that really wasn't worth saving, but it was just the fact that I've never failed at anything in my life. Never. I've never failed at anything.
For her to indicate to the police officers that she never failed is revealing, because she didn't want to fail at marriage. She didn't want to fail at life.
Could Watasha's unyielding quest for perfection have driven Ray to use drugs and into the clutches of a deadly narcotics ring? In a case where leads are nearly impossible to come by, investigators have no choice but to explore that theory.
We always kept our minds open to another possible scenario, but that evidence it did not present itself.
We had so many questions and no answers.
In Springfield, Illinois, police are investigating the grisly murder of 22-year-old National Guardsman Ray McCaster. In an interview, Ray's widow, Watasha, claims that her husband had recently started using drugs and abusing her. Ever the perfectionist, Watasha tried to change Ray, an effort which investigators now wonder may have driven Ray further into the world of narcotics.
The fact that she kicked him out prior to his disappearance showed or indicated to the police officers that, she's done. She doesn't want to have anything to do with him anymore.
But even though Watasha and Ray's relationship had its problems, investigators are shocked by Watasha's cool reaction to the news of Ray's murder.
No real emotion, no questions, no, oh my gosh, my husband's gone. None of those questions.
Even if she was not in love with Ray, you are definitely going to have an emotional reaction, especially under these circumstances. He's dead. There was no level of guilt, no level of remorse. That is very odd.
Despite Watasha's detached attitude, detectives find it nearly impossible to believe someone like her could be involved in such a horrific crime.
She's this church-going girl who just wanted to have, the nice American dream with her husband.
And when investigators speak to Ray and Watasha's pastor, Dion Kreitz, about the allegations of drug use and physical abuse, he has a decidedly different take on things.
No, I don't remember that part. Ray was kind of a happy-go-lucky kind of guy. He didn't need a lot to make him happy. He just loved life.
180 degrees different than the way she's describing him. The pastor described Ray, as everybody described Ray, as one of the nicest guys you've ever met.
After speaking with Pastor Kreitz, investigators reach out to Ray's superiors with the Illinois National Guard to see if they knew anything about Ray's alleged drug use.
What can I do for you? Sergeant, I wonder if we can ask you a few questions about one of your soldiers, Ray McCaster. I was wondering if you have any problems with him. Has he been coming in intoxicated or high?
Oh, no. He's been actually one of our model soldiers.
His supervising officer in the National Guard said that he wished that he had more of him in his platoon.
Has he mentioned anything about maybe troubles at home? Maybe his wife, Watasha?
No, but funny you should mention that.
According to the guardsmen, shortly after Ray disappeared, Watasha made an unexpected visit to the National Guard outpost.
It would have been late October, early November. She packed up all of his military equipment, his uniforms, and took him up to the Guard unit in Robinson.
The guardsman's statement immediately raises red flags about Watasha's version of events.
If she kicked him out, it is odd that she would go to the armory and submit his belongings as opposed to trying to find Ray to give Ray his belongings.
But what Ray's superior tells detectives next gives them even more cause for concern. It involves an incident that happened a few weeks prior to Ray's disappearance.
They were at a cookout of the Guard unit up in Chicago.
Ray told one of his colleagues, if he ever ended up missing, look at Watasha.
And then everybody kind of laughs, and he's like, no, I'm serious.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. If you need anything else, let me know.
After speaking to the National Guardsmen, investigators believe Watasha's initial statement was false, and that she, not some vengeful drug dealer, may be responsible for the crime.
Tox screen's in.
What do we got?
That suspicion is further cemented on November 10th, when the coroner's office releases the findings of their toxicology analysis of Ray's blood.
When the toxicology was done, if there was no evidence of any narcotics in the bloodstream, he was in the National Guard. He had submitted to chemical testing for narcotics there, came up negative.
The same with his employer here in Springfield. When he would have to take random drug testing at work, always tested negative for illegal drugs.
But the toxicology report does indicate a high quantity of one unusual substance in Ray's blood system.
Tetrahydrozoline.
What is that?
In the autopsy, he had very high levels of tetrahydrozoline. We found out that the substance tetrahydrozoline is a poison.
It's also the primary active ingredient in a common household product.
The autopsy reveals traces of the chemicals that are found in Visine.
If enough tetrahydrozoline is consumed by an individual, it could cause harm to them, could make them sick, and could lead to death.
Though the toxicology report states that the amount of tetrahydrozoline in Ray's system never reached lethal levels, it suggests someone had tried to poison him.
No other drugs.
Dad was right.
Yep, looks like he was telling the truth.
We look at all the evidence, and then we say, what does this evidence point to? And all the evidence in this case pointed to Watasha Denton.
On November 11th, 2012, investigators decide to place Watasha under 24-hour surveillance.
There she is.
Yeah.
And no sooner have they done so than they make a series of startling discoveries.
When we do surveillance, oftentimes we'll do what we call trash rips, where when the person puts the trash out, when the trash company comes, we'll stop and take the trash away.
They found Ray's driver's license and also credit cards that were cut up.
Ray's driver's license and credit cards aren't the only items Watasha has thrown away.
Visine bottles, anywhere around a dozen of them.
A receipt for a 50 feet of tarp for a hand dolly cart.
Containers for rubber gloves, like surgical style gloves. And then receipts showing that she bought cleaning items, air freshener, lots of this material. Again, very unusual for just cleaning your house.
But the final item pulled from Watasha's trash might be the most peculiar of all.
There were a number of flooring tiles that were found in the garbage outside of Watasha's home.
There was evidence that she had ripped up the entire bathroom floor and replaced a new floor down.
Not only that, but at least one of the discarded tiles seems to have blood on it.
In Watasha's case, those were definite red flags.
But if Watasha was responsible for her husband's murder, what caused her to dismember his body? And how did she do it? Little did anyone know, an inconspicuous piece of paper would provide evidence that would blow this case wide open.
I can't explain why it was there. If we didn't find that receipt, we probably would not have had the conclusion in this case that we did.
It's been nearly a month since 22-year-old Ray McCaster's mutilated body was found lying at the bottom of an embankment. According to Ray's young widow, Watasha, Ray had begun using drugs, and his murder was likely the work of an angry drug dealer.
There was no other plausible explanation for who could have done this to Ray Mel, other than the fact that perhaps he had exposed himself to the type of people that would have done this.
But when the toxicology report reveals no drugs in Ray's system, except for a massive amount of tetrahydrozoline, an active chemical in over-the-counter eye drops, investigators begin to suspect Watasha may be the real killer.
There is no evidence that supports Watasha's allegation that he was a part of any drug conspiracy, and the finger starts to point at her.
In an effort to link Watasha to the crime, detectives put her under 24-hour surveillance. On November 11th, 2012, they uncover a cache of suspicious items.
All his ID cards are found. Every single one, there are scissors or a knife cut through his head. Bags of empty bottles of Visine.
In their search in Watasha's trash, they also found tile from the bathroom floor.
There was a piece of the tile from the floor which actually seemed to have blood on it.
The next morning, investigators deliver the tile to the forensic lab for DNA analysis. Within hours, they receive the results.
That tile revealed evidence of Ray's DNA from his blood.
Could this be proof that Watasha murdered and dismembered Ray in their bathroom, then disposed of his body outside of town? Even with this trove of circumstantial evidence, the question of motive is still unclear.
Their relationship seemed to be on the surface just an ordinary young married couple. It didn't make sense, really, that she would be capable of this. And very calmly and methodically, evidently, cutting off her husband's head and hands and feet.
You knew they were young, you knew they had issues, but it was nothing to the point where it would go any deeper than that.
For investigators, the lack of motive isn't the only problem with the case against Watasha.
How could one person be responsible? I mean, even just a torso, I would estimate weighed about 180 to 200 pounds.
The thought was it would take more than one person to do this crime, to sever the head, sever the legs, sever the hands, and then dispose of the body there.
In an effort to unearth both a motive and potential accomplice, police continue to sift through the trash removed from Watasha's garbage cans, as well as some of the debris collected at the crime scene.
Hey, come take a look at this.
What you got?
It's from this latter pile of potential evidence that detectives discover a bloody scrap of paper.
Or a reciprocating saw.
That matches up.
Time and date stamp.
Let me give them a call so we can get a surveillance footage of that.
We had a receipt that had been what they believed to have been drug out of the car with the body that had blood on it.
There was a receipt to a local Walmart that I believe was October 25th, which was a few days before we found the body.
It was significant because of the purchases that were made, a reciprocating saw, a non-insulated respirator mask, cleaning equipment, some rubber gloves.
Though the items were paid for in cash, the receipt has a timestamp on it, 11:53 p.m. Investigators head to the Walmart and ask to see the surveillance footage from the checkout area at the time of the purchase. It doesn't take long to find what they're looking for.
The video showed an African-American female at a register purchasing the items that are listed right on the receipt.
And she's buying a reciprocating saw and a respirator mask at midnight. Very odd thing for a young lady to be buying at that time of night.
That young woman was Watasha McCaster.
November 26, 2012. Armed with this new evidence, investigators execute a search of Watasha and Ray's home while she is in class. Once inside, they find even more incriminating evidence.
One of the things that we recovered was her computer. We looked at some of her searches, and she searched items such as how to kill someone and get away with it, hitmen for hire.
It's a telling bit of information, but nowhere in the house do investigators find any of the items Watasha purchased.
The items that we believe she used to disassemble the body were not there.
Like a dolly cart, along with the rubber tote, along with the reciprocating saw. So we have these items that were in fact purchased, but we don't have.
Police also find Watasha's diary. On every page, it's clear Watasha wanted Ray to be more than just a good husband.
She wanted him to be that perfect husband.
She had expectations of how the relationship should go, and Ray was not meeting her expectations.
Number one, you to talk to me without putting me on a time limit. Number two, you to be romantic. Number three, be happy to spend time with me. Number four, work out with me. Number five, cater to me for once.
October 26 was significant for this couple because this was their anniversary. Maybe she was giving him an opportunity to get it together by October 26. Maybe that was in her mind the cutoff.
I think she was not satisfied with her marriage, that her attempt to change her husband was not working. She had decided in her mind that she was not going to let him make it to his second-year anniversary, and she was going to do everything she can to make sure that didn't happen.
On the evening of November 26th, 22-year-old Watasha McCaster is formally charged with her husband's murder.
She was charged with first-degree murder. She was charged with dismembering a human body. She was charged with concealing a homicidal death, and she was charged with obstructing justice.
For the victim's friends and family, the news is devastating.
That hurts. You know, it's like your heart getting snatched out.
I'm still having a problem trying to put everything together because you never seen this blow up. You never seen an explosion.
As Watasha sits in a jail cell awaiting trial, little does she know that questions have already begun to swirl about the physical evidence, a possible accomplice, and whether Watasha McCaster is a natural-born killer or a woman wrongfully accused. March 26, 2014. 14 months after being charged with the brutal murder of her husband Ray Mel, 24-year-old Watasha McCaster is led into a Springfield, Illinois courtroom to stand trial for the crime. In their opening arguments, prosecutors assert that the mild-mannered co-ed seated in front of the jury was in fact an unyielding perfectionist.
The life that she wanted, she didn't have that, so she tried to make it happen, and when she realized that she was failing at it, she snapped.
Her relationship with Ray was going a direction that she didn't want it to go.
Failure was something that, in her personality, she couldn't handle.
According to prosecutors, Watasha tried to poison Ray with Visine for weeks, but when that didn't work, she sought out alternative ways to murder her husband.
She was gonna try to kill him, and the Visine didn't work. She was gonna hire a hitman. That didn't work. We believe she then shot him, and then had to figure out how to dispose of the body.
I think she killed him, disassembled him over the period of a couple of days, and dumped his body, thinking that nobody would ever find out. Within a day or two, she's getting rid of his clothes. She rips out her bathroom tile. She takes his IDs, his driver's license, his credit cards, and throws them in the trash. I mean, this isn't a coincidence.
She was gonna complete this goal of killing her husband and him not making it to that second anniversary.
To support their argument, prosecutors introduced the Walmart surveillance video and the bloody receipt tying Watasha to the crime scene. Though many of Watasha's late-night purchase items were never found, including the saw, prosecutors are able to introduce her personal diary, as well as the chilling search history found on her computer.
It's a series of little bits of evidence that, when looked at in the entire picture, point to no one else but Watasha Denton, and her acting alone in committing this crime.
When it's their turn, the defense argues that Watasha wasn't capable of murdering Ray and disposing of his body all by herself.
It seemed unbelievable that she by herself would be able to move the body, would be able to transport the body to the scene where it was found.
Prosecutors counter that there were any number of ways Watasha could have single-handedly disposed of Ray's body.
How would she have disposed the body if he weighed over 200 pounds? Look, she could have done it. She could put it on the dolly. She could have tied him up. She could have done all these things to dispose of the body, and she could have done it.
Watasha's defense also points out what appears to be a glaring hole in the prosecution's case: the lack of a murder weapon, and therefore an undetermined cause of death.
You don't know anything. All you have is a body, some pieces of paper, and that's it. There is nothing at this point that is directly linking the murder of Ray McCaster to his wife.
The defense also disputes the supposed motive behind the crime. They claim Watasha put an end to her failing marriage the old-fashioned way, by filing for divorce.
Her attorney said in her opening statements that Watasha had thrown Ray Mel out of the house sometime in October and never seen him again.
As for the bloody receipt, the defense claims it was intentionally planted at the crime scene by someone other than Watasha.
It seemed unbelievable that Watasha would be so careless as to leave something so identifying behind. So there was also a possibility that whomever did this wanted to throw off the investigation and make it look like it had been Watasha.
It's a powerful argument, but one to which prosecutors have a surprising response. They call one of Watasha's classmates from the University of Illinois to testify. Under oath, Sam Thomas recalls a favor Watasha asked of him via a text message 5 days before Ray's body was found.
Her story was that she was in the National Guard, but she hadn't been trained to shoot yet, and she wanted to do some shooting with her father. Asked if he would loan a pistol to her.
Like I told you, standard automatic handgun.
He gave her the gun with 6 rounds of ammo on October 24th. The gun was returned to him on October 25th, missing 2 of those rounds.
We don't have his head. We can't show that the cause of death was a bullet wound to the head, but we know that there's 2 bullets missing, and we obtained the gun.
They tried their best, but they never found the remains.
Will Sam Thomas's surprise testimony swing momentum back in favor of the prosecution? Or has the defense created enough reasonable doubt in the minds of jurors? On April 1st, 2014, the jury retires to decide Watasha's fate.
The jury deliberation took 7 hours, and that's pretty long. And people worry that the longer the deliberation is, the less likely of a conviction.
Finally, the jury delivers their verdict.
When the jury returned, she was convicted and guilty of all charges.
She was sentenced to 78 years in prison. Her reaction to the verdict was like her reaction to everything else in this case. Not much of one. No real emotion, just stood there and listened to the verdict.
But even with Watasha behind bars, those closest to this young couple still have a hard time understanding how things went so sour so fast.
I'm a firm believer in an eye for an eye. Probably should get done the same way you did him, you know? I mean, there were so many other ways you could have went about this. She wanted to just wipe him off the earth. Like, would nobody care about Raymel if Raymel was gone? That's how she did it.
If you want to be married, you have to put perfection aside. There is no perfect human being. So to be married to a person who is obsessed with their own idea of perfection is actually to marry misery, because you can never meet the expectation of another and you can never be perfect. Nobody can.
Hey, I'm Nye, one of your hosts. And before we go any further, remember this. Not all poisons are swallowed. Some of it hides in plain sight in jealousy, envy, greed, and the need for control. Every case you watch here starts with a motive. But before the crime, there is behavior. Before the headlines, there is manipulation. Before the tragedy, there is silence. The Silent Poisons book series explores the psychological patterns behind the crimes. Toxic love, misplaced loyalty, obsession, and the desperate need for validation. These are the poisons that destroy lives quietly, the ones no one warns you about until it's too late. If these stories pull you in, the truth goes even deeper. The Silent Poisons book series is available now on Amazon and IamNylux.com. Together we uncover the silent poisons of life.